Welcome back to Digestion, ladies and gentlemen. We've already talked about the mouth. Now we are going to continue and talk about from the mouth down toward the stomach today. And we will continue with the stomach in a later video. So, starting with this, relating to the mouth is the salivary glands. In order to swallow the food, you actually do need saliva. We did talk about the saliva a little bit in the mouth notes and in the vocab. So just a quick run-by refresher. Salivary glands produce saliva, and saliva does have those two ingredients we talked about. First one is amylase, that digestive enzyme used to break down starch. If you remember from the mouth notes, I showed you this clip where this person spit into starchy water. His own amylase went in there, and he mixed the iodine in there to turn the starch purple. So the amylase breaks down the starch, so there's nothing to be purple. But for the rest of it, what we care about is the fact that your saliva is actually a mucus. I know, that's gross. No one ever actually wants to hear that they have mucus in their mouth, but it is. But it's not the same kind of mucus you're thinking of. It's not the mucus in your nose or anything like that. This is a very watery mucus. It's there just to be slippery. Its job is to lubricate your food. So when you swallow, it slides down nice and easy. As we can see, this person swallows the food. It needs to be able to slide its way down without getting stuck on anything, which is kind of why the cinnamon challenge is a really bad idea, because cinnamon is going to dry up your mouth, absorb all the saliva, and not be slippery enough, which is why it's a challenge. So I don't recommend it. Do not do that. Very dangerous. Cool thing about your saliva, though, is your brain can communicates with your salivary glands. It tells your mouth like, hey, good things are going to happen. So when you sense pleasant food, the glands automatically start making more saliva for you. That's going to allow you to swallow food easier. Think about this. Just close your eyes and think about your favorite food. Think about something you love to eat. For me, it's cheesesteak. All right, give me a nice, hot, oniony cheesesteak from Joe's Steaks on Torresdale. Free advertisement right there. The smell, the steam, the taste, the onions, just thinking about it. Oh, my mouth is starting to water right now. Because your brain thinks you're getting ready for food, it is preparing you for food, and you are getting more saliva for it, because that's going to make swallowing the food even easier. When you sense unpleasant food, something you really don't like really sweat-socky smelling steamed broccoli, your brain thinks that you're about to be poisoned by this stuff, and actually makes it more difficult to swallow the food. You end up making less saliva. So, feel free to use that against your parents when they make dinner that you don't like. Tell them that Mr. Laconi said that if you don't like the food, it is anatomically and physiologically more difficult to swallow the food. Your brain does that to you. Right. Moving on to the pharynx, from the mouth to the pharynx. This is something we've talked about back in the respiratory system, because you can see right here, the pharynx is that space behind your mouth, right? So from your nasal cavity down, you can start breathing, or from your mouth down, you can start breathing. It's the same entrance for food. So we got to talk about that pharynx again. This is the fork in the road. 2 chapters ago, when you were breathing, it went down one path. In this chapter, we are going to go take the other path. Instead of taking the larynx to the trachea to the lungs, we are going to go this route through the esophagus down to your stomach. And there are 3 parts to that pharynx, just for your memory here. We got the nasopharynx up here, because it's the pharynx that's part of the nasal cavity, so nasopharynx. You got right back here the oropharynx, the pharynx that's part of the oral cavity, and the laryngopharynx, the part that's right up against the larynx, which I forgot I had labeled. So here it is labeled for you again: nasopharynx, oropharynx, laryngopharynx. And that's the fork in the road. It's either going to go down the larynx to your lungs, or down your esophagus for food. And just like last time, the epiglottis, In the previous chapter, we talked about how it prevented you from choking, right? That it covers your trachea so that you do not choke on that food. And all right, I know a lot of people did not like this video, so I'll promise to keep the sound off this time. But if you're grossed out by that epiglottis video I showed you, now's a good time to look away. All right, so there's that epiglottis. This person has a breathing issue, so when they inhale, the epiglottis gets closed down. That should not be happening while they're breathing, but you see that it shuts down and covers their larynx. So if they were swallowing food, you can see how it would block the food. Right? Ignore all that saliva in there. Good lubrication, but bad for visuals. For this chapter, I want to talk more about how that epiglottis is a good thing for the food. Instead of being a blocker, it's actually more of a guide. Right? It's not going to just stop the food. It allows the food to move in the correct direction. Taking a look at this video again, we can see this part right here is a cartoony version of that epiglottis. So this would be the larynx. Over here will be the esophagus, where we want the food to go. And as the food goes in, we see the epiglottis shuts. Mouse covered it. The epiglottis shuts, allowing the food to slide in the correct location. And from that epiglottis in your pharynx, we now have the esophagus. This big long tube from your pharynx down to your stomach. It's just a passageway. It doesn't do anything to the food except move it. Right? It's about 9.8 inches long, so roughly 10 inches. So if you think like a normal ruler, slightly smaller than a foot-long ruler. And like I just said, between the pharynx and the stomach, and it's lined with mucus glands. Just like in your mouth, you have the salivary glands producing that really watery mucus. You also have mucus glands lining the esophagus to allow the sliding to keep happening. And it's technically not even a slide, it's more of a squeeze. Right? Think of a tube of toothpaste. When you want to get the toothpaste out of the tube, you squeeze the tube and it's just going to be pushed forward. And that's what's happening here. This is known as peristalsis. Remember that word? It was a vocab word, peristalsis. This is what's going to make your entire digestive system function. Right? We do not depend on gravity. You can't just swallow food and expect gravity to bring it down, because that's not going to work all the time. What if you were upside down? What if you're an astronaut in outer space and there is no gravity? We still got to be able to swallow that food. So your body is designed to squeeze it. And once it gets out of the stomach, it's no longer going down. It's going sideways throughout your small intestine. So peristalsis is going to keep it moving. It is a pretty gross thing to see in real time. So here's an animated one for you queasy people. I'll show you a real one in a second, but this is your large intestine, and you can see it squeezes the contents around. As it squeezes, it pushes the food all around here. At this point, it's waste. It's no longer food, but we'll get there. Same thing's happening down here in your small intestine. This is what's happening in your esophagus too. I wasn't able to find a good image of the esophagus doing this, but it's the exact same motion all through your whole digestive system. Now, if you are the queasy type of person, now would be a really good time to stop looking. All right, this video is of a person who has had their stomach open up surgically. So this person is on a surgical table, and you can actually see these are the intestines wrapped up in fat. Real life zoomed in there. Real life intestines squeezing the food around while we are actually observing this person digest their food as they are moving the food all around. By the time we get to the end of the small intestine, they will be done digesting it. Then it's going to move into the large intestine, where this motion will continue, and large intestine will start absorbing the water. This is another video of it. This person is a different patient, actually. This person, I believe, had some kind of motorcycle accident. Their stomach was torn open, and this is all scar tissue.
View of peristalsis you'll ever see. All that movement, those are my intestines. This grayish blue spot right here, that's my liver. My belly button over there. I'm sliced all the way up.
Now, we can't see this because in our bodies, because we have abdominal muscles there, and then fat, and our skin, and well, this person without the abs there can't sit up on their own. That's why they're laying there like that. They're stuck in that position. All right. So that is it for the esophagus notes. Tune in next time, and we will get from there into the stomach. For now, look on Google Classroom for an assignment. Good luck.